Baseball isn't just numbers, numbers, numbers.
This game is not being played on computers.
You don't do that with a bunch of statistical gimmicks.
You don't put a team together with a computer.
We're talking weighted runs created plus,
expected WOBA,
his sweet spot rate,
defensive runs above average,
average exit velocity,
barrel rate,
xFIP,
BABIP,
SIERA.
We are above replacement radio. And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, we have reached the unofficial halfway point of the season. We've reached the unofficial midway point of the summer, right? They call it the Midsummer Classic. It is the last day of the first half as we are recording this today. And man, has that season has it flown by so far. But yeah, we got some regular mid-season housekeeping stuff today, I suppose. Mid-season awards. We got home run derby and all-star game preview. But first, we got to talk about a team that has been pretty much firing on all cylinders throughout the month of July. That is currently on a 9-game win streak, and that is the home 9. That is the Boston Red Sox.
Yes. You mentioned it's the last day of the first half, and much of this first half, the Red Sox looked like what they've looked like the previous 3 years heading into this year, even though that was not the expectation, even though, the Red Sox made some quality additions this past offseason. They were seen as a playoff team, a division contender, and they were not playing like that. However, July 4th, for whatever reason, they start popping off.
I wonder what could have been.
Yeah, I wonder what sparked it. But they were in Washington D.C. to play the Nationals.
They saw some of the sights of the area.
Yeah, they saw some of the sites. They met some cool people.
Relative to your definition of cool, but yeah,
some interesting people, that's for sure.
Some well-known individuals.
Yes, famous.
Yeah, can't deny that. A lot of things you can't deny. Can't deny that.
Yes, some important figures, maybe some Time Person of the Year winners. But they swept the Nationals multiple times.
Yeah.
They swept the Nationals. Then they come back home. They face, the very challenging Road Rockies. They sweep them, and so far they have won 3 of the 4 games that they've played, or 3 of the 4 games of the series against the Rays, and they're playing the 4th one today. So yeah, they've won 9 in a row. And have propelled themselves into the 5 seed in the playoff picture. I should look up how their playoff odds have changed, but
check that.
Yeah, what have you been seeing out of Boston?
I mean, they've pretty much fired on all cylinders. I assume that you're going to touch on the offense, so I will take it upon myself to talk about the pitching. They lead the majors in pitching FWAR. They have a flat 2 ERA. The lowest in the league. They also have a 2.72 FIP, which is the lowest in the league. How about 0.44 home runs per 9 given up during this span? That is quite impressive, along with 8.2 strikeouts per 9, 2.2 walks per 9, the 3rd lowest. There's really nothing in this pitching that hasn't been a force lately, whether it be the bullpen or the rotation. Getting more into some batted ball stuff, they lead the in a ground ball rate against from July 4th on. It's a 50.4% ground ball rate. Along with that, it's also a 29.1% fly ball rate, also the lowest in the majors. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. They're allowing a lot of ground balls and not allowing a lot of fly balls. Their pulled air rate is 14.5%, which is the 3rd lowest in baseball in this span, behind only the Giants and the Nationals. The pitching has been very solid. Obviously, Garrett Crochet with a complete game shutout yesterday. Lucas Giolito has been excellent over the span. Bullpen's been solid. And I think you can talk offense now.
Yeah, and just to add to the pitching, that ground ball rate is a large reason why they have the lowest expected slugging out of any team in baseball in the span, and also the 2nd lowest expected WOBA. But yeah, talking about their offense, I know they lead all of baseball in the span in batting average and OPS as well. And they have been kind of BABIPing a little bit, but even with that, they do have the 2nd lowest strikeout rate in the league. And I actually should look up what their strikeout rate is now compared to what it was before the span, because we've kind of come to know the Red Sox as a team that does often strike out, and sometimes that's with the benefit of some power, but they're not known as a contact team necessarily. But they do have the second lowest strikeout rate in this span in baseball, only the Blue Jays being ahead of them, which is a perennial contact team. Yeah, the Red Sox strikeout rate has gone from 24% before the span to 18% in this span, and I think playing the Nationals and Rockies definitely helps, but that is a good sign to see the Red Sox make some more contact, because that's always a benefit. But yeah, and talking about the playoff odds that I kind of prefaced, their playoff odds on July 3rd were 16.7%. At the current moment, it is 49.3%, which actually surprises me. I would have thought that would have been over 50%, but it is increased by their playoff odds have just about tripled in the last 9 games. So yeah, I mean, it's do you kind of feel, has this stretch kind of made you feel validation for having the expectations that you had before the season?
100%. This season so far has been reminding me a lot of 2019 for the Red Sox, a year in which they were coming off a World Series victory. They brought back pretty much the same roster that had won 119 games the previous year. And it felt like there was no reason why they couldn't go do it again. And obviously they ended up going, 84 and 78 that year. It just felt like they were a team that was about to go on a run that just never happened. And that's kind of how I felt with this team, where I knew they had the talent to go on a run. It was just a matter of whether or not it was going to happen. And here we are. They've won 9 in a row. They lead the league in offensive, and in position player F4, in pitcher F4, all the stuff that we just mentioned. Like this is the run that I've been expecting the whole year, and we finally have it. Even if it's only a 9 game stretch, but it's 9-0, and it's complete domination on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and it just adds another wrench into this AL East mix, because it's like it as we kind of mentioned last week, it seemed like the Yankees were almost running away with it for the first maybe 2.5 months of the year, but obviously the Blue Jays are in that position now at the top of the AL East, but now the Red Sox are in the mix, and the Rays are another winning streak away from being very much in the mix as well. So there's 4 teams that could realistically win the AL East right now. Some have better odds than others. I think if I'm sure the betting odds for the Yankees and Red Sox are the highest out of those three, or out of those four. But
Blue Jays and Yankees.
I would say Red Sox and Yankees probably have the
Okay.
highest betting odds, if I had to imagine, because
Playoff odds tells a different story.
right, yeah. But in
Yeah.
terms of, I guess, the market and the market of people's thoughts, I think the Red Sox and Yankees would have the highest odds. But yeah, it could end up going down to the wire. I think it's going to be very fun to watch in the second half.
Interestingly, Fangraphs still has the Yankees with a significantly higher chance of winning the division than the Blue Jays. I know that I don't expect them to hold on to the division lead, but I would think it's better than a 38% chance of winning it outright.
Um, Interesting. Um, yeah, I'm looking at betting on this. Might be preseason. Yeah, this is preseason stuff, because they or actually no. Yeah, Yankee. I don't know. Never mind. But but yeah, so yeah, that's what the Red Sox are up to. Anything more on the Boston Red Sox?
I mean, we'll get to more into some individuals later, but I mean, I think the individuals have been pretty awesome. Obviously, Cedar Rafaela is kind of leading it. Roman Anthony, albeit with high BABIP, has a 200 OPS or 200 weighted runs created plus over the span as well. Yeah, it's been very cool to see just the way that they've been doing it. Obviously, they treaded water without Alex Bregman, and now he's back. Trevor Story's, recovered from being the worst hitter in the league in the month of May. Yeah, it is. It really is just they're firing on all cylinders right now.
Right, right. And yeah, like the Roman Anthony thing, like he's definitely BABIPing, and I was like in person witness to that. Like, he
Yeah.
was hitting some ground balls through the hole. However, it's like it is the funny way that baseball works, because for the first, I don't know, 2 weeks of his career, he was just hammering balls right at dudes. So
Yep.
I think it's kind of a balance effect that's going on
The
with him.
law of averages will always find you
Yes, yes,
in this
indeed.
game.
Yep. So that's what's going on with him. But yeah, we can definitely get into some individuals later on. Um, but yeah, did we want to get into first half awards?
Let's talk about some first half awards.
Yes. So excuse me. Um, yeah, we do it pretty much every year. Yeah, I think we do it every year. Each of our first half AL MVPs were, I think, Brandon Lau in 2020, even
Yeah.
though there was no All-Star break to worry
And
about.
it was
But
it was after a month of play.
yes, yeah, Brandon Lau was absolutely killing it for the first 30 games of of 2020. Um, but yeah, so I feel like some of these races are pretty cut clear, if not most. Um,
Hmm.
but the first one I wanted to get into, I think, is very close. I think there's a case for two specific individuals you could go for. Who's your American League Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I mean, right now I actually do think it's pretty clear, but in terms of where it goes at the end of the year, I think is where the big question is. I'm talking about Jacob Wilson right now. I think he is pretty clearly at this point the American League Rookie of the Year. He leads all rookies with 2.9. Fangraphs wins above replacements. He is hitting 334 as a rookie. With a 134 weighted runs created plus. I know that Carlos Narvaez is not far behind, but I think in terms of the way that the writers evaluate these things, I think they're going to favor the guy that does a lot more on offense and is also fine defensively at the shortstop position. I don't feel confident that he will win it. I think there are a lot of different guys, and I'll get into them later. But Jacob Wilson is, I think he's a guy that naturally a lot of people are going to like, and that has a 7% strikeout rate, and he whiffs less than 10% of his swings. Like he, has a high batting average. He's playing pretty good defense, albeit not fantastic, but people absolutely love talking about Luis Ariz, even though he's the worst defender in the league. Jacob Wilson isn't that. He's not. I think he's a really solid player. He definitely has fallen off a bit from like April and May when he was doing a lot better. I believe he has like a OPS in the 700s since June. So he's it's definitely very vulnerable that someone can certainly catch him, whether it be Narvaez or somebody else from that point in the season on. But I am going to go with Jacob Wilson as of right now. However, I don't think he's going to win it. I'll get into that later.
Yeah, yeah. I also have Jacob Wilson. If I'm voting for the first half awards in the first half BBWAA, I'm picking Jacob Wilson. He leads American League rookies in F4 hits, batting run value, and also win probability added. So I think he would take it narrowly. One factor that I think um, the BBWAA would like for Narvaez is actually pretty far ahead in B WAR. And as we are, we sometimes kind of forget that a lot of people do look at B WAR quite a bit. So um
Mm-hmm.
I think writers, whenever rookie of the year voting does happen, they might surprise us because Narvaez's B WAR is like zero point 0.9 ahead of Jacob Wilson's. And for partially that reason, and also I think just because of Narvaez's sustainability, I think Narvaez will win it at the end of the year. But my vote now would go toward Jacob Wilson. Um,
My vote would also right now go towards Jacob Wilson, but I do have actually a hot take. Um, I don't know that. Well, I was going to say the wrong thing. I do think that an athletic, the homeless athletics, I think a member of that team will be the winners eventually of the Rookie of the Year award. However, I don't think it'll be Jacob Wilson. I think it will be Nick Kurtz, who has been just completely fantastic. I think, albeit he has some obscure home road splits. He's kind of past the point now of, or at least he seems past the point now of, those rookie struggles, those that guy just getting up to the majors. struggles, but since May 23rd, his OPS has gone from 692 to 870, where it is now. Just for context, in that span, he ranks, as I'm waiting to get this up, where is he? Does he qualify? Does he qualify? He is slashing 272, 366, 640 for a 1007 OPS. Like he's been a really solid hitter. And not only that, but if you look at all of the like standard batted ball metrics, he's pretty much doing all that same stuff as well. All the things that you really want to see. Like his average exit velocity on fly balls is like up there with like the Judges and the Sotos and the Otanis of the world. Like he is kind of just figuring it out on all cylinders right now. He's doing it without a high BABIP, by the way. Like he has a 322 BABIP in that span in which he in that span that I mentioned, among the 254 hitters with at least 100 PAs in that span, he ranks tied for 12th in weighted runs created plus. Like he's been pretty much everything that you could possibly ask for out of him. I think he's going to only continue that as the season goes on, and I actually do think he can catch Wilson, Narvaez, Cam Smith as the eventual winner.
Yeah, he's also the only American League rookie with double-digit home runs, and he has 16.
Yep, like he could easily like if he. I mean, we talk about like, oh, we might like Jacob Wilson. You know, the writers might like Jacob Wilson because of his pure hitting abilities. If Nick Kurtz can hit 30, despite not starting the season until late April, which he almost certainly will, that's gonna matter too.
Yeah, yeah. And shout out to the Athletics, by the way. The top three American League rookies in home runs are all Athletics. It's Nick Kurtz, Max Muncy, and Jacob Wilson.
Max Muncy.
Yeah. Not that Max Muncy. Come on, folks. But yeah, that's a very interesting take. I would definitely take a victory lap if that takes place.
Yeah.
If I were
bold.
you.
It's bold.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Now on to National Rookie of the Year, where
is bleak.
Not a lot of standouts, I guess you could say, but yeah, who do you have? Who would you put your vote toward for the first half awards?
Yeah, this is very bleak. There isn't really not only is there not like a standout runaway candidate, but there also just isn't really anyone that's like blown anybody away. Like I don't think there's any all-stars among the National League rookies. There's definitely not anyone who's been just completely stunning over the course of the entire season, but there is Drake Baldwin, and that is my pick. I don't know. There's not really much to say. He definitely looks like he is recovering from getting BABIP'd quite heavily early in the season. He's doing well with all of the batted ball marks, whether it be hitting the ball hard, hitting it a little bit more to the pull side as of late, although he does have a lot of ground balls recently. I believe he's a 57% ground ball rate since like late May. But that can always change. Other nominees include like Chad Patrick from the Brewers, Isaac Collins, maybe Augustin Ramirez, although his catching stats have been quite abysmal. I don't know. There's not really much else to say because this is a rather bleak race, but I think Drake Baldwin is the default pick, and that's who I also think it will be.
Right. I mean, there's some races in here where the leaders or the top two are exactly who we thought they would be, like NL Cy Young, for instance. It's like Paul Skeens and Zach Wheeler. But NL Rookie of the Year, we were all excited about Roki Sasaki versus Dylan Cruz.
Yeah.
Neither of them have really showed up whatsoever, unfortunately.
Nope.
Maybe they'll do well in their career, but it's not the rookie year that it's happening. My National League Rookie of the Year is also Drake Baldwin. He leads National League rookies in FWAR, BWAR, batting run value, and win probability added. And although I am worried about him getting enough playing time to accumulate the proper stats to win this award, I do think he will win it at the end of the year. I think he has the most upside of the potential contenders. Like I could easily see like Chad Patrick or Isaac Collins falling off. I don't necessarily see that with Drake Baldwin with how high profile he was entering the year and also the metrics he's putting up currently. So on to our favorite award, Manager of the Year. You can really analyze, you can really go into the numbers on this stuff, which is why we love it. Who's your American League Manager of the Year?
Yeah, so this is another award like AL Rookie of the Year where I have a pick, but I don't think it's going to last. I think currently the American League Manager of the Year is John Schneider from the Blue Jays. I had them finishing last in a very stacked AL East. They are in first. They are 15 games over 500 at this point. And not only that, but like this was a year where I was very concerned about the supporting cast around Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I worried that this was the last year in their window. And despite getting virtually nothing from Anthony Santander, this team is very well rounded. You have a breakout year, or sorry, a resurgence year from George Springer. Addison Barger looks like a very viable piece going forward from virtually all angles. Bo Bichette is having a bounce back year. Alejandro Kirk is having his best offensive season since 2022. The pitching has been all right, fine, but you know what? They're still getting through regardless. He's got a lot out of bullpen guys where they maybe didn't expect it, whether it be from Yariel Rodriguez, Brandon Little, Chad Green, even like they've gotten a lot. They've gotten the most out of a lot of their guys that I wasn't expecting it from. So I don't know if it's going to last. I think it will ultimately go to AJ Hinch, but right now I think it has to be John Schneider.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, my current AL manager of the year is also John Schneider. Statistically, or at least according to Fangraphs, they entered the season with the second lowest odds to win the AL East, and they are currently leading that division. They were also projected for a 510 winning percentage on Fangraphs, and that winning percentage is currently 579. So yeah, they're greatly outperforming expectations. And you mentioned like, the roster around Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And something we talked about, I think, last week was like, okay, given, if you were to tell us the Blue Jays were in this position, you'd think, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is an MVP contender, no doubt.
Yeah.
And he has not been really anywhere near that, unfortunately. But the Blue Jays are still winning and competing at a very high level. So that kind of tells you all you need to know about that supporting cast and what they've done and how they've just kind of propelled themselves to this spot as a whole team, as a whole unit. So yeah, I guess that kind of helps out John Schneider's case. And I agree that I think the Blue Jays are gonna fall out of this spot, and AJ Hinch is gonna win this Manager of the Year because
Yeah.
I think they're gonna win that AL Central pretty handily, maybe reach 100 wins, which was not the expectation from most people. I definitely didn't expect them, even though I had the Tigers winning the division. I did not expect them to dominate in this fashion. And also, given the Tigers, given how many Tigers, drastically improved this year, I think that can also be a good look for the manager and why he might get it at the end of the year.
Shout out to Joe Espada as well.
Yeah, yeah,
After losing Bregman and Tucker, they're comfortably in first in the AL West.
very true, very true.
Uh,
On to National League Manager of the Year. Who do you got?
this is even more bleak than Rookie of the Year. Like I've spent months being like, man, NL Rookie of the Year is tough this year. Like no one's really standing out. I looked at NL Manager of the Year for the first time today and thought, oh wow, there's like really nobody, like truly nobody that fits the typical description of a Manager of the Year of like either guy that's just beginning his tenure with the club or a team that's outperforming expectations. I have absolutely no certainty that this guy will end up winning it, but I think right now you have to look at Clayton McCullough with the Miami Marlins, who are 8 games under 500, sure, but they are technically still somewhat in the race. If you look hard enough, they're 8.5 games back of a wild card spot. They are 11 games back in the division. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'll put a stamp on that, but this is a team that I thought was going to be like 2024 White Sox level bad. It's actually a different National League team that's doing that, and the Marlins are kind of fighting. They are, they're a team that has a lot of potential identity going forward. That was a lot of what I was looking for with this team was what exactly is their identity. You've seen breakouts from Kyle Stowers. You've seen, solid performances from guys like Dane Myers, Augustin Ramirez, Otto Lopez. The pitching hasn't been exactly what you thought it would be, especially with Sandy Alcantara. But Edward Cabrera looks much better this year, which is fun. The bullpen is still fine as ever. And like this is not, I did not expect them. I certainly didn't expect them to be ahead of the Atlanta Braves at the break. I'll tell you that with all certainty. I definitely didn't expect them to be less than 10 games under 500 going into the break. And no doubt they could still end up like 20 games under at the end of the season, and he wouldn't get it. I really don't know who would go to though. Like the first thought I have is maybe Bob Melvin with the Giants. If they can make the playoffs, if they can give the Dodgers a run, maybe if they can finish ahead of the Padres in the division. But yeah, ultimately I don't really know. So I'm gonna go Clayton McCullough right now and Bob Melvin eventually.
Yeah, my manager of the year, I think, if I were in the BBWAA and there was a first half award, I think I'd be that one first place vote for this guy. But my National League Manager of the Year is Oliver Marmol of the St. Louis Cardinals. And it's more of a personal, like, how I viewed them entering the year. I think the a lot of the baseball consensus was they would finish higher than last place. You and I had the Cardinals in last place, but like Fangraphs playoff odds didn't align that way. I think a lot of predictions didn't align that way. But I saw this team as a team who had a 76 and 86 Pythagorean win-loss last year and added nothing in the offseason. Only lost players and only had a fairly aging roster on some fronts. I know they have some good young talent, but Arenado's not getting any younger. Sonny Gray's not getting any younger, and Wilson Contreras not getting any younger. But they've managed to be 4 games above 500 this year and in the playoff race, and that is not something I expected at all. I expected them to be at the bottom of this division, very clearly, and yeah, they have not been that. They have been they're playoff contenders, and they've continued doing it throughout the year. But yeah, that being said, I think Bob Melvin will win it at the end of the year because I think, the Giants realistically could be a playoff team, and there were not a lot of high expectations on them heading into the year. So now on to Cy Young. Who do you have for AL Cy Young?
I have Tarek Skubal.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. Um, I can second you on that. I also have Tarek Skubal. He
And I also think it will be Tarek Skubal.
Wow. Oh wow. You think
Yeah.
you think he's gonna keep being the best pitcher in the
I
league?
do. I do. I've crunched the numbers. It feels right.
Yeah. So excuse me. Um Tarek Skubal, I also have Tarek Skubal. He leads American League pitchers in FIP, xFIP, expected ERA, strikeout minus walk rate, and he ranks third in ERA. He is only 0.02 behind the ERA leader. Hunter Brown has a 2.21 ERA. Tarek Skubal's at 2.23, and then he's also tied with Garrett Crochet, who also has a 2.23 ERA. Tarek Skubal also ranks fourth in innings, so this is over, a very good workload. There might be a couple people who would say Garrett Crochet because he has the same ERA and more innings, but looking at the underlying stuff, Tarek Skubal has been better. He's had an elite strikeout minus walk rate. Like I think his strikeout minus walk rate, I think, is over 5 points ahead of the next best guy in the
Yeah.
American League.
Yeah.
And yeah, his expected ERA is much better than everybody else. His FIP is much better than everybody else. His xFIP is much better than everybody else. So especially at this point in the year when luck factor, in smaller sample sizes, luck factors are more pronounced. Yeah, Tarek Skubal, I think, has been the best pitcher in baseball, and I think he will win the award at year's end. I think he'll maybe not continue it at exactly this pace, but I think he'll be pretty close to it at least.
I do want to step back just a second to 2023, right? That's the season in which he pitches 80 innings, has that really good FIP, and it leads him to be like a sneaky, like, hey, this guy could win Cy Young type of guy in 2024. And then he goes out and does it and has pretty much the best season you can imagine, I think, from him. That's how I would characterize what he did last year. And he is evolving and improving yet again this year, which is crazy to me. Like, this is not just another Cy Young award that he's winning. It's literally another step forward that he's taking. He's changed up his pitch arsenal this year to where he's now throwing his changeup more than his four-seamer, which is not something that he did last year. Opponents are hitting 155 and slugging under 200 against his changeup. They have a 7-degree average launch angle against it, which means a lot of ground balls. Not only that, but it's a 48.5% whiff rate against the changeup. Like, the fact that, his average exit velocity has gone down nearly 2 miles per hour from what it already was last year, which was still already really good. It's incredible that he's actually still taking steps forward at this stage of his career, which is like very, very hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. I think his walk rate has gone down. Like it was maybe 5 or 6% last year, and now it's in the threes.
Yeah, it's down. It's down from 4.6 to 3.5. His strikeout rate's up 3%.
Right, yeah, his strikeout rate's up. And yeah, I think he's 1.3 F4 away from breaking what he did last year. So he could realistically break that in like 5 starts.
Yeah.
By the time like mid-August hits. So that's how,
Yeah, I mean,
and that was a Cy Young season where he deserved the Cy Young too.
he's not going to win it, but like this is a season where you have to consider maybe he's a finalist for MVP.
Yeah, for sure. Like if
Right
it
now, I
were,
think he is.
yeah, if it were like the 2022 NL MVP race where like um,
The Goldschmidt year.
yeah, the Goldschmidt year where the leader in F4 was around 7, Tarek Skubal would be in that race, that's for sure.
Mhm.
So now on to National League Cy Young. Who do you have?
So right now, I have Paul Skeens. However, I do think it will go to Zach Wheeler. Paul Skeens right now to me is the clear pick. He has a lower ERA at 2.01. He has a lower FIP at 2.41. Like he's still striking out a lot of guys, albeit not the same amount as last year. All of the stuff that we loved from him last year, he's doing again this year. However, I do fear the Pirates are starting the process of saving up his arm, which is so sad and depressing that we're at this point in his first full season in June. But like each of his last 6 starts, he hasn't gone more than 6 innings. In each of his last 4 starts, he hasn't thrown more than 88 pitches. Like the Pirates look like they are at the point of, limiting his innings for the sake of keeping his health as well as good as possible. Like this is not where we should be at this point. And because they're already doing this now, I imagine it probably doesn't get any better come, the rest of July, August, and September. And I think that's going to give a clear window for Zach Wheeler to take it.
True. And also I think there's a situation where, Zach Wheeler's been runner-up twice and the voters might want to.
And now we know that he's retiring in a few years.
Yeah, they might want to give him that award for sure. And yeah, he's done a lot to put himself in that position once again. Yeah, my National League Cy Young is also Paul Skeens at this point in the year. He leads all National League pitchers in ERA and FIP, and he also ranks third in innings. But yeah, I think I didn't know about that. I'll stick with my guns and say he wins it at the end of the year. Like maybe it won't be a steep decline in production. And also, I think what could be noted is like his strikeout rate is down this year, and I think he's done what he's done, put up a 2.01 ERA and like a mid-2s FIP with a fairly low strikeout rate for him. And I think his strikeout rate is going to increase throughout the year, and I think he could be even more dominant in the second half. So he could just win it purely on a rate basis. I mean, the 2 times that Wheeler has lost the Cy Young, he's lost it to someone who's had significantly less innings than him. So maybe that happens again. But yeah, I think Paul Skeens will win it at the end of the year. But I could easily see easily see Wheeler taking it. But now we go on to MVP.
Yeah, it's a great debate in
Yes.
terms of hypotheticals, in terms of positional considerations. And
Right.
yet I am still going to go with the old guard. I am taking Aaron Judge to win his third MVP. What if I told you that he actually has a significantly higher OPS than he did last year when he was at 1159? He's currently at a 1204 OPS. He's not quite flirting with 400 anymore like he was as recently as like early June, but it doesn't matter at all because he's yeah, like he's still doing everything that you've seen him do and more. Um, yeah, like I don't know. I mean, Cal Raleigh's been awesome, no doubt. It's very cool to see him potentially have the best catcher season we've ever seen, but I still don't know how you can just ignore what Aaron Judge is doing right now. Simply the fact that you're used to it from him at this point. Like if this was the season that like that I don't know, like who's like if this was Cody Bellinger's stat line right now, like he would be the clear MVP favorite. There wouldn't even be a conversation. But because it's Aaron Judge and we're used to it, there has to be some sort of but what if Cal Raleigh? No, like there I
Yeah,
love Cal Raleigh. I'm super happy to see the season that he's having. The award is Judge's.
yeah, I have Aaron Judge as well. He would get
Yeah.
my vote at this point in the year. And that is speaking as a one, a Red Sox fan, B, a big waiver of the Cal Raleigh flag over the past couple years. Someone who
Hmm.
has had him 3 years in a row in our F4 league. Someone also who ranked him number 20 in for MLB players heading into 2025, ranked him 34 heading into 2024. I'm a big Cal Raleigh guy, but
Yeah, you are a big Cal Raleigh guy.
unfortunately, I do not think he is the MVP right now. And yeah, like we do make fun of the if it was any other year, he would have won. Like we do make fun of that premise, but it is kind of that thing right now.
Is it
Uh,
though?
I mean, like
Would he be
maybe
beating
not
Judge 2024 or any of the Otani years?
mostly like the 2010s. I
Yeah.
think this beats
If it was any
probably
year
most
pre if
most
it
of the
was any
Trout
year
years.
pre-pandemic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Um, before
Yeah.
the Judge Otani era, I think Raleigh easily wins
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
in most situations. But because yeah, he's on pace for like 10 and a half or something like that. But yeah, I have Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge leads all American League players in F WAR, B WAR, batting run value, and win probability added, despite what everyone says about his lack of clutch. He does win. He does lead in win probability added among AL players. He also leads American League qualifiers in batting average, on base percentage, slugging, and OPS. And I do understand that Cal Raleigh has much more defensive value, and that's why I'm a big Cal Raleigh guy. But Aaron Judge has 193 more points of OPS, over 100 points more of slugging, 88 more points of on base percentage. The gap in offense, despite how many home runs Cal Raleigh has hit, the gap in offense between Judge and Raleigh is just too large for me. So that's why I have Judge as the MVP winner. I'd love to see Judge slow down and Raleigh keep
I'd love to see
going.
Raleigh hit 63.
Yeah, I'd love to see, Raleigh keep going and Judge slow down and Raleigh win this thing, but I think if the vote were to happen now, I think Judge would get it.
Yeah,
And I think Judge will win it by the end of the year because
as do I.
I also do have more faith that Judge will keep his level of play up than Raleigh will keep his level of play up. Um, but on to National League MVP. Who do you got?
Yeah, so for National League MVP, I have Pete Crow Armstrong currently, which that's not the surprising thing, but what may be more shocking is I think it's going to stay there. I think Pete Crow
Ooh.
Armstrong is going to win it in the end. Uh, Otani is obviously, one win behind right now. I think something like that. Um, at this point, I don't really know how much pitching is going to be a factor in the MVP race if he's only pitching 1 or 2 innings per start. I know that people can make the case with it. The Dodgers are down a lot of arms, and even just that much helps. It's not what you expected from Otani as a pitcher during the year. I have no idea if his innings are going to be ramped up at any point between now and the end of the season, but I don't know. I think there are a lot of certainties that I have with Pete Armstrong. I think his defense will continue to be what it has been throughout the year. I think the base running will continue to be what it has been throughout the year. Obviously, the offense and the sustainability that he has like a 130, 140 weighted runs created plus is going to stick. And I think it's going to. PCA's offensive profile is entirely dependent on his pull rate on fly balls. In March, it was 38.2%, which is about 12% above the major league average. He struggled early and then picked it back up around mid-April. In May, it was 51.7%, and it became, at that point clear that he was, an MVP candidate. In June, it was 29.6%, his lowest so far this year, and that was when he had a 770 OPS, slowed down a little bit, but now in July it's 41.7%. He hasn't slowed down at all at any point so far this season, and if he keeps pulling the ball, I don't see any reason to believe he's not going to win MVP. And so far, he hasn't shown me any reason to believe that he's going to stop pulling the ball in the air. For that reason, I am going to keep Pete Crow Armstrong as my MVP pick. As I mentioned before, I am quite certain about the defense and base running sticking is what it is. The offense is the question, and I think he's going to maintain what he's doing, or at least the downfall won't be large enough to rob him of the award.
Daniel Curran standing on business with Pete Crow Armstrong. My first half NL MVP is also Pete Crow Armstrong. He leads National League players in F WAR and B WAR, and he's been the best defensive outfielder in baseball, while also putting up a 135 OPS plus, 25 home runs, and 27 stolen bases. He's on pace to go 40-40, while also being the best defender in baseball, and probably putting up the best defensive season from an outfielder in a long time. I don't have the historical context on it, but we have not really seen this in the outs above average era, I guess. I don't really remember an outfielder doing this. So it's
Denzel Clark.
Yeah, Denzel Clark. That's true. But Pete Crow Armstrong has been unreal. I do think Shohei Ohtani will win it at year's end. I'm going with the old guard there, I guess. Just because, the gap between just looking on purely on F WAR, if you include Ohtani's pitching, he has 4.6. Crow Armstrong has 4.9. So I think Ohtani's pitching role will grow throughout the season, which unfortunately that does take away from what PCA's case is. And I think what I hope the writers do, even if Ohtani pitches just 30 innings, I hope they recognize well, that's 30 more innings than PCA was throwing. That those innings do exist, just like, an at bat when you're up 14 in the ninth also exists. So, that you do have to, I do think you have to factor in those things. Even in picking the first half MVP, I factored in Ohtani's 9 innings because those have existed, and those have been a very quality 9 innings, 1 ERA, a 1.53 FIP. And I also think Ohtani's offense is really sustainable. I think he can maintain this 170 weighted runs created plus, and that's honestly a down year compared to the 2023 and 2024 marks that he put up. So I could also see his offense getting better throughout the year, along with him keeping his pitching. So I think Ohtani will win it by year's end. Not that I'm necessarily rooting for it. I'd love to see him keep flourishing, but seeing PCA beat the old guard like that would be a really cool moment.
It would be sick.
That's for sure.
As of right now, he's tied for 24th among outfield seasons in outs above average since 2016 when it began being tracked. He's at 15. Byron Buxton in 2017 had 29, which is the most of all time. I don't necessarily think he'll get there, but I think he can very much attain Victor Robles' 23 from 2019, which is the second highest.
I forgot about Buxton's platinum glove year.
Yeah. So I think realistically by the end of the year, PCA can be the second best, kind of the second best outfield season we've seen since outs above average was tracked. Along with, like you mentioned, maybe even if it's not 130, like 125 weighted runs created plus, I think that's more than reasonable.
Yeah. Best defensive outfield season of the 2020s, I think, is a big deal.
Plus, I don't know, is there some kind of voter fatigue with Ohtani if he isn't putting up a 180 weighted runs created plus like before, and he isn't pitching Cy Young caliber seasons like before?
Also,
and is this what it takes to dethrone that? It might be.
Yeah, also stealing less bases. He only has 12
stolen bases. And stealing less bases, which I think we all knew was going to happen. But right.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see it play out for sure. I think a lot of people would have Ohtani now, just because they're they don't
of course
looking at F WAR and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But PCA does lead in F war and B war at the current moment. But yeah, it'll be fun to see it play out. Like what what PCA's done. If he gets zero war for this whole second half,
It's
he'll have more F war than I thought he would have had before the
what
season started.
honestly same, and that's someone who picked him in the F4 league.
Yeah, right. Pretty unbelievable. So yeah, so that does it for first half awards. Pretty interesting stuff going on this year. And yeah, we have some all-star activities that have been that's going to be happening. Probably the most excited I've been for a home run derby in a long
It's a
time.
good field this year for sure.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable. Like, you know, on a lot of people's wish lists, especially like people who pay more attention to some of the metrics like you and I.
Mhm.
We are really looking forward to it. What are you kind of most excited for with this field?
I'm excited for a lot of guys to get the national stage for the first time, whether it be Cal Raleigh, well, I mean, I guess Cal Raleigh sort of had it before if you count the 2022 playoffs, but it'll be the most attention he's gotten. James Wood, Junior Caminero, O'Neal Cruz, Brent Rooker, like just about every one of these guys, with the exception of like maybe Jazz Chisholm and like Matt Olson, like are pretty much getting the biggest spotlight that they've gotten in their careers so far.
Right, right, absolutely. I think it was a great move to include O'Neal Cruz, even if he's not
Yeah,
having a great
100%.
year. I think he has the least home runs of anyone in that field, but he's probably the most I'm the most excited I'm
Yeah,
to
like
see.
putting those kids in the outfield have to have like riot shields when he's
Yeah,
hitting.
right. Yeah, no. Like they're making those kids sign like six waivers before O'Neal Cruz
Yeah,
gets in
I
that.
mean, I feel like they probably have to do that regardless, but definitely with O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be insane. James Wood too, because like
Yep.
you know, he's gonna smoke the ball. It's just a matter of where it's gonna go. I'm excited to see because like the pull rate on fly balls in the home run derby, like league wide, is like 85% probably.
I would
I would
have to
say
imagine.
I would like to
I
see.
remember like 2019 Acuna going the other way for a bunch of his home runs.
Yeah, I wonder like is James Wood gonna pull the ball even if it's
Yeah.
in the home run derby, or is he just gonna
Well,
still like
did you see the video that the Nationals posted the other day of like the catcher's like GoPro cam of catching James Woods like home run derby batting practice session?
no, I did not.
So the Nationals posted a video. They were in Milwaukee, as they are this weekend, and someone put like a GoPro on the catcher's mask for when James Wood was doing his home run derby like practice BP, and he was literally spraying the ball. He was hitting it to center. He was hitting it to left center. He was pulling it too, but I mean he was going to all fields.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I remember when Freddie Freeman was in the home run derby, I think maybe 2018-ish.
Yeah.
But like he was same guy. Like he's never been a guy who pulls fly balls, even though his most famous home run is a pulled fly ball. Um,
He,
but but he's always been known to kind of go gap to gap, and that's kind of what he did in the home run derby. And it was, although it wasn't the greatest show ever, it was kind of cool to see that. I think James Wood is probably gonna, especially based on what you just told me, that might be the same situation. So it'll be fun to see what goes on. Um, Jazz Chisholm is good for the personality of it. Like seeing him, um, with see, he's always been a big personality, but now he's performed well enough to get
yep.
to the spotlight, and I think he'll be a very entertaining watch. And maybe the whole baseball world doesn't know about him, and I think maybe some younger fans are really going to get into him.
Yeah, I'd be very cool with that. Interesting little note that I've noticed this year, the home run to fly ball ratio at Truist Park is 18% for left-handed hitters and 15% for right-handed hitters. So it does appear to be a ballpark that does favor lefties. Um, I want to check the Statcast park factors as
Oh,
well.
oh, Atlanta for sure.
Yeah.
As someone who did a MLB The Show, Road to the Show as a pitcher
Okay.
in Atlanta. Yeah, it's a short wall over in right field, so there's some there's some fly balls that, don't get out of most parks that get out of Atlanta. Um,
Sure.
and then yeah, also Atlanta,
80,
like
87 home run park factor for lefties this year, and for righties, for righties it's 87. For lefties, it's 105. Yeah, all right. This is clearly a lefty ballpark.
yeah, so I wonder what direction Cal Raleigh goes in because Raleigh also does hit better as a righty.
Hmm.
But I mean I would guess the batting practice pitcher is going to be a righty, like so he would probably just go lefty. Um,
Most switch hitters do hit better as righty, oddly
right,
enough.
right, because also Raleigh throws right, so it would make
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like bat speed's always like way higher as a righty.
Yeah, right, right, right. So that'll be interesting to see. And yeah, yeah, because left center field in Atlanta is like another Death Valley. It's very very deep, especially like kind of closer toward center field. It's pretty deep over there. So it'll be interesting to see like for Buxton and for Rooker, like how they and Caminero, how they're gonna handle that. But yeah, it's really cool to see. I feel like, MLB made the right choices and the right people stepped
Mhm.
up to the plate. Like, yeah, we're not it's kind of a given that we're not going to get, Otani and Judge in another home run derby, but getting these guys is also really cool. And I think almost better for baseball because, everyone already knows about Judge and Otani. Like these guys are gonna get that proper attention. Um,
Truist Park has the fourth highest uh total like variables for extra difference, for extra distance rather. Like given like the temperature, the humidity, anything else, the ball travels an extra 7 feet on average. Um, it only trails Colorado, uh, Sacramento, and Arizona. It's going to be hot tomorrow. It's going to be like high to mid 80s. I would imagine probably humid as well.
oh yeah,
So ball's going to travel.
Atlanta in mid-July. That definitely
Yeah, so I think it makes the most sense to take a lefty in this one. For in that, you got what Cruz, you got Raleigh if he chooses to hit lefty. You got Olson, you got Jazz. I think that's it, right? Or is there one more that I'm forgetting?
um
Right? Common Arrow, Buxton,
James
Rooker,
Wood.
Wood, yes, Wood.
Um
Yeah. Do you have a prediction?
Um, if I had to use my, nerd logic,
Mhm.
because Olson has had a tough time pulling fly balls this year. I mean, that may be more of a consequence of how they're pitching him or whatever. That could
Yeah.
change. Um, James Wood, not great at pulling the ball. Cal Raleigh is obviously excellent at pulling the ball. He's the best at it. But I'm interested to see if he goes lefty or righty. O'Neal Cruz, I'm not sure on his pulled fly ball rate, and I mentioned
It's
that
not good.
because okay, it's not good. You know what? It's the year of Cal Raleigh. I'll say Cal Raleigh does
I'm
it.
also saying Cal Raleigh. Yeah. I think there is a way that you kind of have to change your approach for home run derby because especially with the timer, you want to try to get as many opportunities as possible. And that means pulling the ball. If guys like James Wood, guys like O'Neal Cruz, have to adjust their approach a little bit. That's not even really an adjustment that Cal Raleigh has to make. Like Cal Raleigh is essentially playing home run derby every game that he plays. Like he's always been a lower batting average guy that pulls the ball in the air a ton and gets as much isolated slugging as possible. Obviously, he happens to have a higher batting average this year as well. But yeah, I mean he's the by far the best at pulling the ball in this group. He has the most pull friendly attack direction, the most pull friendly attack angle. I think he'll find a way to just tuck a lot of those balls into that chop house in there.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up because everyone in the home run derby obviously has the power to get it out. Like it's not going to be an issue of like
Yeah,
do they have the muster to
yeah,
do that. It's more like, can you get it at that right angle in that right spot, every single time.
and I think
We saw
and I
Pete
think
Alonso do that twice.
mhm.
We saw
Yeah,
Teoscar Hernandez do that last year. Like those are like fly ball guys and they got rewarded for that.
yeah, exactly. I do think that he'll also hit lefty too, because there are a lot of guys like I mentioned. guys that have higher average bat speeds, switch hitters when they hit righty. Tommy Edmonds, like my favorite example of this. Cal Raleigh doesn't have that. His average bat speed is essentially identical from the left and the right side, so he's probably going to hit lefty. And like I said, it's a much more left-handed favorable ballpark. I think it's his to lose.
Yeah,
That
for
being
sure.
said, I do hope we get to see a lot of guys like O'Neal Cruz, Junior Caminero, James Wood, Byron Buxton. It's
Yeah,
I want to see everybody. I wish all of them could go to the finals.
yeah, me too, me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like when we see guys not do well in the home run derby, it's not because they don't have enough power. It's usually like they're hitting too many line drives. Maybe they hit it
Mhm.
into the ground a little bit. Maybe they're hitting it to dead center. Like it's never an issue of like they just didn't have enough power that day.
Yeah.
So like Raleigh is the best at putting, optimizing his fly balls and
Mhm.
also getting it in the air in
Not
general.
only that,
Whereas
but I
I
feel
could
like
see I could see Cruz or like James Wood having an issue there.
I also think that Cal Raleigh is like very capable of like disciplining himself in a way to like not get too tired. Because I think you see plenty of guys do home run derby and it's like they look visibly gassed by the end of it. I could see that with like O'Neal Cruz, James Wood, Junior Caminero. Cal Raleigh, I think, will have that. Will kind of be able to find that balance of not swinging too hard, figuring it out like that.
Yeah, especially when hitting fly balls comes naturally to him. Like he's not
Hmm.
he's not like adjusting that much and he'll probably ease up on his swing a little bit and get that power. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Monday evening. That's what's going down. Um so
All
now
Star game,
the All-Star game and
Google
the two
schemes.
starters, who would have thought
Yeah.
Eric Skubal versus Paul Skeen? I mean, you head into this year, those two don't come to mind. Not
No.
at all.
Yeah. Good. It's a feel good story for the league. These two
Yeah.
guys. Looks like the lineups they're facing aren't going to be that good because just nobody's playing in this game. That's what it
That,
feels like. Obviously, there are all-star replacements every year. This is just a feel thing and it's purely anecdotal. Does it feel like there's more of them this year? Because to me, it does.
I haven't been paying enough attention, but
Oh, they're like half the roster's been replaced. It feels like
yeah,
there
well,
was the whole. Wait, did you see the thing with Christopher Sanchez?
yeah, I did see that. I
Yeah, that the
mean,
Phillies are going to pay his bonus.
right.
That was very cool.
That
Let me
that
see
was
who's been
cool.
added to the roster. I can't tell you off the top of my mind who's been taken off. You'd probably just figure out who is pitching or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time with pitchers, but yeah, seeing position players get kind of taken out, that is kind
Yeah.
of
Did you
strange.
see that Jacob Mizorowski was added to the roster?
I did see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of the uproar with
All right.
leaving Christopher
Randy
Sanchez off.
Arozarena, Carlos Rodon, Carlos Estevez, Casey Mize, Michael Garcia, Drew Rasmussen, and Adrian Morahone are among the reserves that were added to the roster. David Peterson was added to the roster. Um, who else? Zach McKinstry, Isak Paredes, Joe Ryan, Trevor McGill. I think that's it.
Right. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of replacement. Yeah, it's good to see McKinstry get
Mm-hmm.
in there
Yeah, he
because
deserves
he's
it.
he's been yeah, he's been
I don't know
like
how George Springer never found his way to a replacement. That's crazy.
yeah, that's strange. But yeah, Zach McKinstry's just been he's been literally all around the field for the Tigers and has just been putting up like a 130 OPS plus or something like that.
Yeah.
With like good defense at every position too.
Yeah.
Um, so that's cool to see him get that. He's just one of those like miracle Tigers that's just putting together a career year out of nowhere for them. Um, but uh, but yeah, any more on the All-Star game?
Prediction. I'm gonna go AL wins because that's just seemingly what always happens. I'm gonna go AL wins, uh, 4-2 as the score, and I'm gonna go for MVP. Who am I gonna go with for MVP for the American League? Hmm. You know what? I'm gonna go with Byron Buxton. I think
Very
off the bench
nice.
he's gonna do something. It's been that kind of year for him, especially recently.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Buxton getting the cycle yesterday.
Hmm.
Baseball bingo, but that's 11 total bases, so it is a good day. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think
I think he's gonna hit a late home run.
like the National League is due, you know?
Well, they
Um,
won it 2 years ago.
oh yeah, I
So
forgot
you're on the Spalding squad.
the the Elias Diaz year, of
Yeah.
course.
Yes,
I forgot that they won 2 years ago.
they did.
So yeah, they won in 2023. Um,
Yeah,
AL
it's the
one.
it's the Ban Johnson Al Spalding Classic. These guys
Uh,
hate each other.
yeah, I mean, I remember back in 1900
Oh my God.
when
The
Van
things that they would
Johnson
say about
started.
each other, like I can't repeat it on this show, but whew.
Yeah, and this is 1900 by the way. Like they're not
Hmm.
holding back.
Yeah, like even then it was like, whoa, like you don't say that about someone.
Yeah, and by the way, I know the American League started in 1901, but Van Johnson started the Western League
Yeah.
in 1900 as a
It's
competitor.
it's stupid that we have to keep explaining this
Yeah,
every
he
year,
was a
but
competitor to the
come
National
on.
League. And then, National League teams started disbanding and the American League took some teams in competing cities and started the American League in 1901 and there was a truce in
Yeah.
1902 um to where they could kind of coexist and not be issues with each other because a
Yeah.
lot of National League players left for the American League in 1901, including Hall of Famer Napoli Dubois.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's the history with the American League and the National League. But I'm gonna say uh National League wins 3-2 PCA MVP.
Okay, so All-Star Game MVP, first half MVP, but not final season MVP.
Correct. I
All
draw the
right.
line. That's where I draw the line.
Sure. You draw the line on August 1st. No
Yeah,
more.
yeah. But I was just from my analytical brain, I was like, okay, well, right field has a short porch, or shorter porch. Who's the lefty who can pull the ball? PCA. He can do that. Um, and maybe he'll get another hit in a stolen base or something like that. Really PCA it up. But yeah, that does it for All-Star game, All-Star weekend. Do we want to get into players to highlight?
Let's talk about some players to highlight.
Yes, wonderful. All right, so now we will, for players to highlight, we start with the lows, we end with the highs with our Sunday, July 13, 2025 edition of Slightly Alarming Statistics. He's been barreling up the ball way less.
He's not missing bats. He's not getting the ball on the ground, and people are hitting it in the air more.
It's been so bad. He is getting a
Slightly alarming.
Yeah, so for my slightly alarming, I'm going with the guy that will be starting this All-Star game for the National League. He won the fan vote, and then while he was in the midst of a deep struggle, talking about Freddie Freeman, who has not been performing well for a while now. Since June 4th, he is slashing 184, 255, 248 for a 503 OPS, a 42 weighted runs created plus, and a minus 0.7 F4. Among the 186 qualifiers in this span, he ranks ninth lowest in average, tied for 10th lowest in OBP, fourth lowest in slugging, fifth lowest in OPS, sixth lowest in weighted runs created plus, and also tied for second lowest in F4. He has been, among qualifiers, one of the worst players in the league, which is a weird thing to say about Freddie Freeman, but that's where we're at for the last month and a half. While there haven't really been much quantifiable changes to his stance or his swing in the span, Freeman has still just been behind on the ball. He is just not getting out in front. He's been late, and that's caused a lot of what's going on. His average point of intercept, which is where bat meets ball, has gone from 1.7 inches behind the start of home plate to 3.4 inches behind the start of home plate. He hasn't really moved back, or excuse me, he hasn't really moved forward in the box. In fact, he's actually moved back in the box by about an inch, and yet still he is still significantly more behind than he was previously. His ground ball rate has gone from 36% before the span to 51.7% in this span. His fly ball rate has subsequently gone from 31.3% to 21.8%, nearly a 10% decrease. And his line drive rate has had an exact 10% decrease. It's gone from 30.7 to 20.7. But more notably is the distribution of power. His pull rate on fly balls has gone from 17% before the span, which is already low. It's Freddie Freeman. He's not a guy that pulls the ball a lot, but it's gone down to 10.5% in the span, the 20th lowest among the 305 hitters with at least 10 fly balls in the span. His barrel rate on fly balls has gone from 34% before the span to 21.1% in this span. You mentioned it earlier. Freddie Freeman's not a guy that pulls the ball a lot, but if he's not going to do that, he relies a lot on being able to, barrel his fly balls when he hits them the other way, and he's not doing that no matter where he's hitting the ball, or at least not to the degree that he was, before the span. But during the span, he has been one of the worst hitters in the league against high velocity. He is hitting and slugging 0.88, below 100 against pitches 95 miles per hour and above. Again, hitting and slugging. So an 0.88 batting average with no extra base hits. His batting average ranks sixth lowest, slugging ranks third lowest, and his minus 16.6 run value per 100 ranks fourth lowest among the 138 hitters with at least 25 plate appearances in the span that are ending on pitches 95 miles per hour or above. So Freddie Freeman has been in a pretty deep slump for a while now. It all starts with just the fact that he's been late to the ball, and for that reason, he is getting a slightly alarming.
Freddie Freeman.
Slightly alarming.
Yeah, he's been struggling, and that's why I also put him as a slightly alarming. And you actually picked a better span. You picked a 33 game span, I believe. I just didn't go back that far because I thought it started at this certain point, but no, it's actually a longer span. But Freddie Freeman in his last 30 games is hitting 186 with a 502 OPS. Out of 184 qualified hitters in this span, his slugging ranks fourth lowest and OPS ranks fifth lowest. And out of 72 hitters to see 500 plus pitches in this span, his expected batting average is ninth lowest, expected slugging is sixth lowest, and expected WOBA is fourth lowest. Part of it is him not making as much contact. His strikeout rate has gone from 20% before the span to 27% in this span. He's also hit the ball softer. His average exit velocity has gone from 91.6 miles per hour to 90.2 miles per hour. You mentioned his barrel rate on fly balls. His barrel rate in general has gone from 11.7% to 4.8%. A lot of that has to do with the fly ball rate going down, as his fly ball rate has gone from 33% before the span to 19% in this span. Ground ball rate has also gone from 36% to 53%. Pop-up rate has gone from 1.9% to 6.0%. And line drive rate has gone from 30% to 22%. Very surprised to be doing this, because I feel like even if Freddie Freeman is not at his best, he's always fairly consistent. He's usually he's not really a hot and cold type guy. Usually always fairly reliable. So yeah, I mean, I think this is the first time ever that we've highlighted him for slightly alarming statistics. But yeah, it's looked rough. He's had poor results, and based on directionally where he's hitting the ball, angle wise where he's hitting the ball, it makes sense. He's known for line drives, known for hitting the ball in the air very effectively. He's not been doing that. He's hit a lot of ground balls, hit pop-ups at a higher rate, also struck out more. So yeah, Freddie Freeman has not looked like Freddie Freeman, and that's why he's getting a
Slightly alarming.
So on to, now we go from the lows to the highs, where we were talking players and subjects that have been outperforming expectations with our Sunday, July 13, 2025 edition of How About That?
He's striking out less, walking more, and he's also making better contact.
Turning into a strikeout machine just out of nowhere.
He's been excellent all around this year.
And he is getting a...
How about that?
Chris, would you say this has the possibility to be, I don't know if this has ever happened before, but I'm just going to say the first time we've ever had the same How About That and slightly alarming?
I recall an instance in 2022. I know...
Of course you do.
I know AJ Pollock was the slightly alarming. I forget who the How About That was, but...
AJ Pollock, yeah.
I think it was... I was recording... The one time I recorded in my mom's office. So I think
Nice.
it was like episode 190 something.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, so I mean, I don't know. Do you think that is a chance of happening again?
It has a chance of happening, yeah.
Okay. Because I think mine is pretty predictable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Ceddanne Rafaela.
Oh, well, I have a different Red Sox player, so we're
Oh,
good. We're
oh,
good. We're
okay.
in the clear.
All right, cool. Well, I am talking about Ceddanne Rafaela. Obviously, we mentioned earlier we would be talking about individuals with the Red Sox, and that's what we're doing here because since May 29th, Rafaela is slashing 321, 354, 628 for a 982 OPS, a 166 weighted runs created plus, and 2.3 FWAR. Among the 180 qualifying hitters in this span, he ranks 8th in slugging, tied for 11th in weighted runs created plus, and tied for 5th in FWAR. He's made some adjustments to his swing that have gotten him out in front of the ball, which has really been one of the many things keeping him back from definitely the one thing that has been more than anything else preventing him from being exactly this. His average swing tilt has gone from 35 degrees before the span to 32 degrees in the span. That's very scientific. All that means is that he had a more of an uppercut swing before. He's flattening it out just a little bit, but not to the degree where it's completely flat. It's pretty good. Flattening out a swing has changed his average attack direction from 1 degree to the opposite field to 2 degrees to the pull side. It has also changed his average point of intercept from 2.2 inches ahead of home plate to 4 inches ahead of home plate. In essence, he's made changes to his swing to pull the ball more. His pull rate on fly balls specifically has gone from 10.3% before the span to 37.9% in this span. That is a 27.6% increase. That is higher than the major league average, and that's just his increase in this span. His ground ball rate has also gone from 48.6% before the span to 39.6% in the span. One thing that he has done is dramatically improved against breaking balls and off-speed pitches. Before the span, he was hitting 237 and slugging 376 against them. And in this span, he is hitting 343 against them and slugging 746. Also, throughout this span, he has a 41.4% barrel rate on fly balls. That is the 10th highest among guys with at least, I believe it's 25 fly balls in this span. And that's not a list that just anyone can find their way on during a how about that. Like that list is usually reserved for the Judges, the Sotos, the Otanis of the world, and Rafael is 10th. Like that is very, very impressive. Like all of this looks to be actually quite legit. I was expecting when I looked up what was going so well for him in the spin was just a very high BABIP and maybe a decrease in chase rate, a decrease in whiff rate. Nope, he's actually still doing that. We've talked about the PCA breakout a lot this year, and I mentioned a lot of it has been, the pull rate on fly balls, because he is still swinging at 60% of pitches, still whiffing 40% of the time, or chasing 40% of the time. And Rafael is still doing those same things in the span, but all that can be negated when you pull the ball as much as he is. On top of that, he's obviously playing fantastic defense, and he's been really the catalyst of the Red Sox offense during this 9-game win streak. And for that, he is getting a how about that.
Yeah, Ceddanne Rafaela.
How about that?
Yeah, and yeah, we definitely had maybe not on the show, but internally we had complaints about him last year, and like
Yeah,
we kind of talked about like, oh, he's very frustrating to watch, and it is
he
kind of
was. He
yeah,
was. I will stand
yeah,
on that. He was. He's not
he was,
anymore, but he was.
yeah, absolutely. Like I don't disagree with how we viewed him last year. But like what was frustrating is he was chasing at a really high rate and was a below average hitter. When you're, when you're putting up a 166 weighted runs created plus, I don't
Doesn't
really care how
matter.
much you chase. Like, we watched Rafael Devers for whatever 7 or 8 years. He had a very high chase rate, but he hit pitches out of the zone very well. I think still leads on home runs outside the strike zone since 2019. And that was his approach, and it worked for him. Whereas Ceddanne Rafaela, if he is able to be an above average hitter with a very bad chase rate, you know what, that's fine. I can deal with that. But it's
Yeah.
when he's chasing at 45% and is a bad hitter. That's when it's like, okay, I've had enough of this. But yeah, no, he's succeeding very well, and it's good to see him flourish. My how about that, I don't think would be eligible for this recognition for most of the show's history.
Oh, okay. I
But
see.
he is because yeah, back
Yeah.
in 2021, it would be like, of course he's succeeding.
Yeah.
But
He
right
plays in
now,
Colorado.
yeah, in this in
And
this current
he plays shortstop.
no. In this current moment, Lucas Giolito getting
Oh,
my
I thought this was going to be
recognition.
Trevor Story.
No, yeah, it's funny. We have the Red Sox have a great 2021 roster with Giolito, Bueller, and
I went,
Story.
yeah, when I was at the July 4th game, it was Giolito versus Mike Soroka, and I was like, dude, if this were 2019, I'd be stoked.
Yeah.
Two young guys. This White Sox Braves game. This is the future of both of these rotations right here.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess there's been a couple of resurgences for the Red Sox, but
Yeah.
Lucas Giolito is one of them. In his last six starts, he has a .70 ERA and 2.62 FIP. Out of 85 qualified starters in this span, he has the lowest ERA and the 11th lowest FIP. A large part of his success and a large part of what was holding him back was his home run rate, and the change in his home run rate has really helped him out. His home run rate has gone from 4% before the span to 1.4% in this span. His average exit velocity against has gone from 91.0 miles per hour to 89.4 miles per hour. And his barrel rate against has gone from 8.9% to 6.1%. Also, his rate of fly balls being pulled against him has gone from 28% to 19%. And his pop-up rate against has gone from 6.3% to 11.2%. And out of 70 pitchers with 90 plus batted balls against them in the span, his pop-up rate ranks 10th. And that's a great thing. Pop-ups are the worst form of contact for a hitter. Also, a large reason for success is hitters making a lot less contact against him. His strikeout rate has gone from 18% before the span to 26% in the span, and his whiff rate has also gone from 18% to 26%. Along with that, his called strike and whiff rate has gone from 25% to 30%. And probably his most effective pitch has been his changeup. That's kind of what it has been throughout his career, but in this span particularly, that has been the case. Against this changeup, which he uses 19% of the time, hitters are hitting 125 with a 167 expected batting average and slugging 250 with a 293 expected slugging. So yeah, Lucas Giolito has been a large part of the Red Sox recent success, and even before they got hot, he had been doing well. I got to see him in person throw 7 innings with 1 run allowed against the Blue Jays. And it seemed like, oh, this is kind of random. But now, as time goes on, it seems less and less random. He's really finding that stride he had before like 2023, 2022-ish. He's doing wonderfully. So Lucas Giolito getting a
How about that?
so a real homer episode from the two of us.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, we deserve it.
we deserve it.
Won
Yeah,
9 in a row.
we've been trashing this team for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't
time
even
to
think we talked about last year when they were hot.
yeah, no, it's like, yeah, who cares? But yeah, no, the Red Sox are doing well. They have players that are doing well. Naturally, those two go hand in hand. But yeah, good to see them perform like we kind of expected them to. All right, so yeah, any final words before we wrap this up?
Yeah, shout out to minor league baseball for the world's most autographed ball promotion that they're doing. I don't know if you heard about this, Chris, but minor league baseball is just setting a Guinness World Record. They have like a giant like baseball. It has the Major League Baseball logo, it has Rob Manfred's signature, and it's touring the East Coast, well, maybe not the East Coast, but like the eastern part of the Double A and Triple A map. It was in Binghamton yesterday. I got to sign it along with several others. It's up to like, I think it's going for like 5,000 signatures on this thing. I think that's the record. I want to say right now it's at like 3,500 or something like that. It's got a few more stops, but very cool promotion that they thought of, and yeah, it was cool to be a part of yesterday.
That is an interesting event. That's cool to hear about. I'm
Yeah,
curious, like, how is the ball just going to be like full black by the end of it?
I mean, I'll send you a picture of what it looked like when I signed it.
Because I have a is it like a really large baseball?
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay. Oh, that's much better. Because I guess I wasn't paying attention enough, but I thought it was a it was an actual baseball.
Oh no, they wouldn't be possible.
Yeah,
There's no
no.
way.
That's I don't know why I thought that.
I kind of thought the same thing too. I was just gonna be, yeah.
It's like, wait, how is that gonna happen? No, it's
No, nobody's signature is visible. If you signed
that,
it last, yeah.
yeah. You have to write with a really, really fine pen.
Point
But
zero zero one percent font.
no, that's sick. I'll try to remember to throw that in editing. But no, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Um, but
Try to
yeah,
find.
that's
Don't zoom in at all, and try to find my name if you're looking for it.
okay.
Not gonna tell you where it is in that picture. You just have to find it.
Ooh, a little Where's
Imagine what my
Waldo
signature looks like.
Little
It's not
Where's
too hard. I didn't make it like indistinguishable. Like you could see where it says Daniel Curran. It's
little
not like
little
my initials or anything different like that.
little Where's Waldo action going on.
Yeah.
Love to see it. But yeah, that's a good thing to send the show off on. Um, yeah, that shall do it for this installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you were listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Feel free to check out our guest interviews playlist as we've been doing this show for over 5 years. We've had some cool people on: Jeff Passan, Chris Rose, Foolish Bailey, Sarah Langs, Mike Petriello, Mark Simon 4 times, Matt Brash of the Seattle Mariners, among many others. So feel free to check that playlist out. Feel free to check out the 2 video essays on the channel: When First Base Contracts Vanished and The Slow Death of ERA. And also follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show on Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next time where we're talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball. Once again, see you then.
This conversation is over.